Hello and welcome to the channel. I hope you're all well. As we are in the early part of March, our minds are probably turning towards the March brown. So today I'm going to tie a March brown nymph. In the vise I have a size 12 nymph hook and I'll be tying with 10/0 brown thread. I'm going to start that just a little bit behind the eye, wind down, trim off the excess and create a bed. We're creating a bed because I'm going to use some lead wire for the weight. So I'm just going to pull off. This is a 015 and just wind it on, touching turns. The amount that you put on will depend upon the size of the hook, how heavy you want it. Just keep it nice and tight up to the thorax area, like so. Then I'm going to bind it down with some thread. And break off the lead. Try not to leave a sharp edge. Back down and do exactly the same with the other piece. Break that off. Put some thread over the top, and to make it nice and secure I'm going to put some glue onto the lead. Put another cover of thread on the top, down to the rear of the lead. For the tail I'm going to use some standard pheasant tail, centre pheasant tail, and you're going to need 3 or 4 fibres. Just pull them at 90 degrees, make sure they're level, and tear them off. Right, I'm going to tie those in behind the lead on top and tie them down. Just separate them just a little. And trim up the excess, level with the lead and bind it down. We want to try and create a carrot shape to this fly, a conical shape. So you've got to build it up just a little bit. Now for the rib, I'm going to use some brown wire, and this is Hen's 09 or 009, however you like to say it. And I'm just going to pull off a piece. It's quite fine, easy to work with. And tie that in. Just pull that to length to the lead, and again bind that down and back to the rear of the fly. Now for the body I'm going to use a creamy brown beaver fur, which is quite fine. It's easy to dub. You need it thinner at the back, and you can thicken it up as you go along the body of the fly. See how we get on with that. Put on a bit more. And more still. Up to the thorax area. Now I'm going to wind on the wire in open wraps to create the rib. and tie off the wire. That should helicopter off. Yeah. And then for the thorax cover, I'm going to use some white tipped turkey tail. And the amount that you take off sufficient to create the thorax cover. That will vary depending upon how big your fly is. Just going to snip that off. And tie that in on top. Bind down the butts. And tidy up. Like so. Now for the thorax, I'm going to use some hare's ear. Won't need a great deal. See how we get on with that. Right, now before I pull the thorax cover over, I'm going to put some legs in, and this is a partridge feather, so we need to get rid of all of the fluff at the bottom, or the flew as it's called. And some of these lesser marked fibres as well at the base. Going to take those off and try and level it up, which is always difficult with a partridge feather. And you have something like that, and we'll pull back sufficient fibres for the legs, which is what we're actually doing here, creating legs. Like so, and trim off the point. And pull back the fibres. Place that on top with the legs either side and tie down the stalk. And trim it up. Right, now we're going to pull over the thorax cover between the two sets of legs, the partridge feather. Try and keep that as flat as possible. And tie down the thorax cover, the turkey. And trim up. And tie down the cover and create a head. And before I tie it off, I'm just going to put some glue onto the thread. And tie off the fly. And trim up the tying thread. Right, now let's have a look at this fly. Right, now to enhance the thorax cover and to give it some support and strength. I'm going to put some UV on the top. Give that a zap. And give it another light coat. And another zap. Make sure that the eye is clear, and I can see some fibres here at the front from the hairs here. Trim up some of these longer fibres underneath. And there you have the finished fly. See another fibre there, which we'll get rid of. I hope you enjoyed the tying. It's a fairly simple nymph. A few techniques, of course, but fairly simple to tie, and has proved very successful for me in the early part of the season when we're looking for those March brown hatches, and probably March, possibly April. There. Don't hesitate to give it a thumbs up, share it, pass a comment, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.